I, you have blessed us with memory, reason, and skill. Help us use it wisely in the service of our town government. We ask this in your holy name. Amen. Salute the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First thing I have is Celine can't make it tonight. She has another commitment. But she wishes us all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and she'll try and make our next meeting. Okay, this time open it to the public. Anyone from the public? Mark?
Yes, if I may. I promise not to take too much of your time. First of all, let me thank the members of the town board again for being willing to meet with Greg Fleming and the folks who are proposing the Horizon Heights project on the former Racine property in Champlain. And let me hasten to add an apology. Mr. Fleming had an emergency about an hour and a half ago and will not be here this evening. And so if you don't take this as a sign of his recklessness, he's asked me to speak in his behalf. And I brought with me some numbers that you had requested before, Bruce, about the impact of the project on town revenues. And so with your blessing, I'd like to hand out some papers if I may. When we last talked, we talked about the implications of annexing a portion of a former Racine family farm into the village of Champlain. And I think your mandate was rather clear. You wanted to make sure that this was not going to cost the town or the town taxpayers any money. So what you see on the second page is a tax revenue analysis. And it's fairly straightforward, but if you think we've made some mistakes or we left anything out, I hope you speak up. And I'd like to go through it now, if I may, just take a few minutes. The entire Racine property was on the books, the rolls, tax rolls, if you will, for a total assessed value of $276,900. These figures were supplied by the town assessor some time ago, and we used those. Interestingly, only a portion of the farm lied within the town. The assessed value of the town-only portion was $200,900, a little over $200,000. The property tax revenue from that portion, the portion that lied in the town at the current rate of $4.90 per thousand, is therefore about $985 per year. This is the amount of money, as you'll see, that is at stake should you agree to annex the property to the village. Now, the total assessed value from the project right now is projected at $9.45 million. And I'll explain that, where that figure came from in a few seconds, if you'll let me. So the tax revenue from the project to the town, of course the entire project after annexation would be entirely outside the town but in the village, is quite substantial, a little over $46,000 a year, leaving a projected increase in property tax revenue after annexation and after the first phase of the project of a little over $45,000. That part was fairly easy. But as Bruce had mentioned, we also have to take into account sales tax. As I'm sure all of you know, each year the county distributes sales tax revenue, and each town and village within the county receives their share based on assessed value. And one of the concerns expressed by several of you, and I think it was wise to consider it, was whether or not the loss in the assessed value would be a substantial loss in revenue. And these figures were received from the county treasurer's office. We learned that the estimated 2005 sales tax revenue to the town of Champlain will be in the neighborhood of $412,000, and that's based on a total assessed value of, that's a typo error. It should be 122 million, I believe. I'll just check that real quick. Your total assessed value is obviously more than 122,000. I believe it's 122,901,000, something in that vicinity. And so that 200,000 represents about 1.6% of the town's total assessed value on which sales tax distribution is based. So the projected loss in sales tax revenue would be about $661. So in other words, if the assessed value of the Racine farm was taken into account and everything else stayed equal, your assessed value didn't go up or go down next year, you would see a $661 difference in your sales tax check from the county. So if you summarize the tax revenue analysis, the projected increase in property tax revenue, the projected loss in sales tax revenue, you can see that there will be a net gain to the town of almost $45,000. Now, back to the $9.45 million, want to know where that comes from. We tried to be as conservative as we could on numbers. We assumed 50 new homes at the low end of the value, $150,000 value each, for a total of $7.5 million. This is the note at the bottom. Plus only 3 20,000 square foot industrial buildings in an area of land, by the way, which easily take on 6, and there's more land besides that. Valued, again, at a very modest price of $650,000 each, including the 4-acre lot. And then finally in the back, because I think this should be taken into account, I understand from what Bruce told me that sewer and water districts do not represent net revenue to the town. They have to be operated on a break-even basis. So we simply made note of the fact that the sewer and water districts represent no potential loss of revenue. Second, the contemplated purchase of the Champlain Elementary School, and no commitment has been made on this, but we did want you to note that that is not on the tax rolls, and we're Mr. Fleming and his associates to go ahead and purchase that school. Our company, by the way, is in the middle of the feasibility study right now. That would put it back on the rolls, and even if the purchase price was a rather low $200,000, that would generate another $1,000 a year in property taxes for the town. And then the projected job creation numbers, although I am certified in economic impact analysis, I went the very, very conservative route here, doing very, very simple formulas for both temporary construction jobs from the residential portion and the industrial portion. And we didn't even use multipliers for industrial job creation. Instead, because Matt and I keep these numbers, we added up the square footage in both the Champlain and the Industrial Park, Champlain Industrial Park and the Rouse's Point Industrial Park, calculated the number of people that were working in those buildings, and assumed the average, which is 0.00046 employees per 1,000 feet, and projected a very conservative 27 permanent jobs from the industrial portion of this project. So what it means, I believe, is that were you to be questioned by a taxpayer, you could say to them honestly that this annexation will actually put money in the town coffers, not take it away. That for no investment at all, you can create dozens of new jobs, and you can put millions of dollars in assessed value on the tax rolls. So this is the message that Mr. Fleming wanted you folks to have tonight, to make sure that you didn't think the proposal was going to hurt the town coffers. That's not his intention. And again, I apologize on his behalf for being unable to make it at the last minute. If I can add to this or answer any questions, I would be happy to. And I apologize for that typo error too. I might be able to figure it out before I leave.
Anyone have any questions from Mark? Question. No one has any questions?
Well, that makes it very easy. I don't feel like I've earned my keep here today. Okay, then I'll just conclude by saying that if you do have questions down the road, please give us a call. I think the next step is we weren't able to, as you know, things are a little bit confused in the village of Champlain right now. We hope to get in front of them very soon with similar numbers and go forward with the project. And you'll be hearing more from us, I'm sure. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Anyone else from the public?
I got a question, but can I ask Mark a question?
Sure, go ahead.
I would assume that without annexation, you don't think this project's gonna go forward? Is that because of the water and sewer rates, or what?
Well, first of all, I'm speaking for Mr. Fleming, if possible, and that was the exact question I asked him today. How important is the annexation? What's going to happen to the project if the industrial portion of the project is not allowed to be annexed? He views the project in its entirety. He'd like to see it come together. He thinks there's a synergy, and I agree with him, between the proposed housing and the industrial park. A good example of that would be as new jobs were created in Rouse's Point, several of them created jobs, which ended up in the housing project where Matt lives. There is a direct link between the new housing and the new jobs. Secondly, my experience has been, and his experience has been in Vermont, that when you're doing an industrial park, if you do not have municipally supplied services, you are handicapped. You're handicapped with federal and state funding agencies, you're handicapped with the Empire State Zone Development Zone program. There's a number of handicaps you are faced if you're looking at something other than municipally supplied sewer and water. So then what it comes down to is whether the municipality supplying it, which should be the direct source, which in this case is the village of Champlain, or an indirect source, the town of Champlain through a sewer and water district. And I think it's fair to say, without being disrespectful of anybody, that sewer and water districts are problematic. They can result in controversy, as we know. They can result in disagreements. Sometimes I think it's a very risky thing for a town to form a sewer and water district, because you put yourself in a position where, while you have a lot of the responsibility, in the end the authority was with somebody else. If, as you're hearing, is something's wrong with the district, even though you're responsible for it, you're relying on another municipality to correct the problems. And I think you don't want to find yourself in a situation where you have tenants of the industrial park in the middle of that kind of a problem. I think we'd like to keep it neat, clean, and simple. If for some reason annexation is not agreed, then I think if Mr. Fleming were here, he would say, then what would you have us do? How can we accomplish the same purpose, which is keeping those rates low, not twice more than what they should be, avoiding any problems down the road with the administration of sewer and water services, and making sure that we don't have any problems with federal and state funding sources, and even private lending sources who want municipally supplied services. If there's another way, let us know and we'll explore that too. Long answer to short question.
Okay, so it's still a possibility that
I think so.
it could go forward. Okay.
How many acres you want in that?
The initial parcel is
100, and then a portion of the residential, which I believe is another 26 or so. But I can get the exact number from him, and he will be in town tomorrow. So
How many was that one?
I believe it's 100 on the industrial section, and then roughly 26, and I'm just guessing on the off of Prospect where the residential development would go, because I think there's a total of 56 acres there, and a portion in the town and the village.
Top of the hill.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember, Alan, but I was amazed when I got this information from Pat. There's like 7 or 8 different parcel numbers there. 9, there you go. You remember getting all 9 bills, probably.
I got 10 with my home.
I think we added up right, though, but if you see an error, please let me know. We were confused when we saw them all, but I think we straightened them out. Anything else, gentlemen? Ladies? Thank you very much. We'll be in touch.
I've got a quick question for the board. I've heard a rumor that the town is considering cutting back on the number of plows out at a given time, down to possibility of 2. Is that true, or?
You must have been in Borderview last Saturday when one of our employees out in the garage was shooting his mouth off about not getting overtime.
No, I wasn't, but
Well, I had 4 phone calls the other morning on this. He's a little ticked off because he had a little small sander on his truck. Now we put a big sander on. He doesn't work as much overtime, and he's very mad. So he's starting all these rumors.
okay. So the town is not cutting back on the number of plows that'll be out at a given time.
No, it'll be the same as it's always been. Right, Alan?
Yep.
You're highway superintendent.
Okay.
No, we're not trying to cut back because that's when somebody will get hurt or an ambulance will have to go up a road and we won't be able to make it. We're not trying to do that.
Okay.
If we cut back, it'd be another area. Nothing else?
No.
Anyone else? Okay. We need approval of minutes of the meeting. Any errors or omissions?
Make a motion, we approve the last minutes of the last monthly meeting.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor? All right. For your information, we have a report from code officers, monthly report. Zoning Board of Appeals and the zoning board, their minutes of their meeting. Okay, I have I have a letter from the zoning board members, and they're talking about Prospect Street, and Tom Murnane, the lawyer, has informed the board that that's not spot zoning, that we can have an industrial park there. Then we have more information on it. There's a letter that he sent to Mike, and that's the land that Mark was just talking about. The next one is, Huh?
Yeah, you skip the
Skip them around.
the association of towns.
Okay.
Huh?
I didn't got that.
The association of towns, you didn't skip that?
Oh, not up to there yet.
Where are you?
This, right here, right there.
That's from Renee.
It's from Marine, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
And
that's what it
it's
was.
not spot zoning, they can be industrial park there. That's that piece of land that Mark's talking about. Association of Towns is not that?
Really?
No, way down. Okay. Next one is a letter from Mayor Rivers of Ross's Point, and Brian Pelkey, the fire chief, is asking that we annex that property on Bridge Road, the custom house, and property near the bridge. And like on the ambulance and fire district. And I'd like a couple of councilmen to check into this, talk with the fire departments, see if they can't work something out. If they can't, then we'll have to see what else we can do. Anyone would like to go on that committee? You would? Anyone else? You?
Devin John?
You?
Me?
Yeah? You haven't done nothing lately. Okay?
Yeah.
You and Jules? Then let us know next meeting. Okay, Jules?
Next meeting of this month?
That's the January meeting?
Well, January probably be better. I don't know if you get to it before.
Depends on the next meeting gonna be.
Oh, we had a meeting.
Last week of
We don't want to
December.
get the end of this month. I can get ready for the end of this month. If not, well,
In January.
January. We have a letter from Bob Sullivan when he resigned. Time Warner, we have a letter from them. Cable's going up. Will make everybody happy.
Boy, that's gonna have to
There's
stop.
nothing you can do about it either, right?
The old people can't afford it anymore.
Yeah. They're wondering why people are going
That's
to the dishes.
A couple old people, me says their bill's around $52 now. Just for the basic.
52.
Yeah.
That'd be more basic.
No?
No.
That's what my sister's is.
No, I
That's all
said
she got is the basic. The tax is $52. Going up $3, I think.
$3?
$3.
Yeah.
$3.
That says it down. $3 and all.
It's not there, but I got a letter on it. Not here.
It's up to 52 or 53?
I don't know, it doesn't tell you on the.
53?
52.
$48 here.
It says that.
That's without HBO and Cinemax and all?
Yeah, none of that.
Who approves these rates?
They do.
Who's they?
Time Warner.
Time Warner. I don't think we have anything, any say in it.
Not at the meeting this morning, but at the senior housing, and Mike Bishop was there. He told us they got it now, they can put those antennas.
Satellite dish?
Yeah, and each one can have their different stations.
Yeah, they
They
can
wanna
put four,
watch.
they can put four.
More than that,
TVs on
they
it
can
now.
put more than that. They can put the whole buildings on different channels.
I don't know, that's running, I think, about $29 a month, eh? And my sister's gonna look into that. They're gonna,
I pay $29 a month.
Time Warner's gonna be left out in the cold here if they keep going up.
I don't get any of it.
No, I know, and that's not right either.
I pay them.
Like my brother, there's a bunch of houses on that road, new houses went up, and they won't give them cable.
Well, you've got a contract coming up. You ought to look at some of these roads, because last time you got The Route 276 got cable, and,
We've got a couple of street roads,
Yeah.
last time, so we're looking into there now.
you know, the Stetson and La Valley have both got quite a few homes.
Yeah, it's
Like
coming
Joe
out.
Lagoon Road don't have
Thing
it.
is, the rates keep
A
going
lot of
up,
them
the
on
others
there
down,
want it,
so,
you know.
if you only got one person that
I mean,
order
that was
wants it,
never
you
set up right,
you're
we
all
should
up.
have did the whole town or none.
It doesn't matter how many you want, it's so many houses per mile. Doesn't matter how many people want it. Only one wants it, and they got the 20 houses, and they still gotta provide it.
That's right.
You have it up on the Ridge Road now?
Yeah, it's as far as Duffin is, but it's not as far as La Valley. So Duffin is the last one, and then La Valley doesn't have it, but you got all that stretch built up on the La Valley Road between the corners and the overpass that doesn't have it. And I think if you measured it off, you'd hit your 20 houses per mile, especially if you went up to Dupreville.
You know, we just got a letter from them telling how many people that we do have and where, what the location is. That's what we're looking at now for the next contract.
And the Stetson Road, you know, I don't think, it goes down a couple of houses, I don't think it goes very far down there.
But they're pricing themselves right out of the market though.
Well, they'll be looking for houses if they keep doing that.
For what you
A
get
lot of
to
people,
watch.
even us,
Mostly sport channels.
Be all right, that hockey.
Yeah.
That's got nothing to do with it.
Next is a letter from the Association of Towns, 205 Training School, in the annual meeting, on February 20th and 22 to 23rd. We need to know by probably the end of this week who's going. You have to let me know or let Jane know. Okay. Next is, we need a resolution returning sales tax. Last year we turned back 270,000, this year we want to turn back 275. Need a motion on this.
I'll make the motion that we turn back $275,000 to the county to reduce taxes.
You have a second?
Second,
Roll call vote. John?
yes.
Clifford?
Yeah.
Larry?
Yes.
Jules?
yes.
I vote yes. Okay, we have to have one more meeting to pay the bills, and I would like to have it on, I think it's Monday, on the 28th, is that Monday or Tuesday? Monday, I think, isn't
What day is that again?
it?
Tuesday.
28th,
28.
Tuesday.
Tuesday. I get 10 o'clock in the morning. Is that
Okay with me.
Is that
It's
okay?
up to Larry.
Yeah, I can make that.
Jules, okay with you?
Where do you know?
Okay. Holiday schedule is Christmas, we're gonna celebrate it on the day after, or on the Monday after, and New Year's the same way. Half a day on Friday before both of them. Okay, I need a resolution on insurance buyout. For the people who don't take the insurance that we pay back,
The same as last year.
yep.
Make a motion that the health insurance stays the same as it was.
You have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh yeah, I got one more thing. I just got this. The Chamber of Commerce is, they're having a meeting, a Port of Excellence in Plattsburgh at the Holiday Inn on Tuesday, December 21st at 8 o'clock in the morning, continental breakfast. U.S. General Service Administration is going to be there. New York State Transportation Department, Quebec Ministry of Transportation, and this is, they're gonna show us the final and tell us about the final design on the new custom station. Anyone wishing to go to that? You wanna go? You need to. Anyone else?
First,
21st at 8 o'clock in the morning,
where's that being?
Holiday Inn. You have to let me know, and we go on the change. We just met with them, probably about a month ago. Some things that we talked to them about that we'd like to know if we had an answer this time. And that's all I have. Alan?
I got a letter, well, I got a problem with the Fairbanks Road. I wrote a letter to the state. Coming out of that Fairbanks Road is impossible with a plow. From the driver's seat to the front end of the plow, we gotta stick the plow out 22 feet. The only way you can solve that problem is we gotta go in there with a smaller vehicle, because you can't see over the wall. So I haven't received anything from them saying what they suggest or what they want me to do. Because it's just an accident that happened. Then I got another thing, the school wants us to put flashing lights in 276. So, that's a state road, so I wrote to the state asking what to do. This guy, Mr. Graham, is supposed to get back to me. They want flashing lights when school's in session. So the town's gotta put it in, maintain them for the school.
Even on a state highway?
Yeah, but the state's gotta come in and give us a permit of somehow and show exactly where they should go. Can't just go on a state road and say, hey, we wanna put one here, we wanna put one there.
Okay, the state put them
They,
I don't know, it doesn't make sense to me.
in. It doesn't either, they don't want you on their roads to start with, now they're
well,
expensive when you're on it.
to provide the school, it's through the town. We can't, I
Okay.
already asked that question, and apparently the town is just like the town of Saranac. You go through Saranac, the town of Saranac's gonna take care of what, they put them in, they take care of. The state can now do that for the local school. And then to regard to that letter, that, on the Dumont Road, where the woman wanted to get the speed limit reduced from 55 to 35. I wrote the letter and the state came in, they did a survey. And come to find out, they said that there's only 0.5 miles of road. And the road is flat, there's only 6 people on that road that live there. They denied it, so the speed limit is still 55 miles an hour.
Can we inform that lady of that?
That's what I was just gonna ask him. Is anybody,
I haven't informed her yet.
Will you inform her and send her a copy of the
Yep,
letter?
I'll send her a copy of the letter.
can you do that, Julie?
And that's all I got, Bruce.
Mike, you have anything?
No, not yet.
Building committee, Clifford and Larry.
No.
Nothing building
Alan, you wanna tell them what you found today, the price you got?
Yeah, I got a price for that wall. And I thought, I think to me it's too much, I wanted $5,400 for that. So either I look at another guy to give us a price of building the wall in there, or
yet. Is this a stud block wall or a?
he was gonna pour a poured wall.
What are you talking about?
Behind the garage?
Well, tell us what you're talking about, I don't know what you're talking about.
And then he was gonna pour a poured wall in there, to me, that doesn't make any sense.
That's crazy.
And it is, so that's why I kinda told him, we're gonna look at something else, or come out with a different.
What are we, why are we putting a wall there to start with?
Well, we talked about reducing the heat a little bit, we could
Well, I mean,
separate that.
we talked about reducing the heat in this garage here quite a while back. And, I hate to admit it, but I was one of was involved, we went in there, we changed all the thermostats, and we set all these thermostats up. And now they're all back to where they were before, and they couldn't be changed, but they changed them out there. So somebody's playing with these thermostats. There's no reason why the heat should be 72 degrees in that garage. There's another garage in the town of Champlain that's 72 degrees. Everybody's in their t-shirt out there. I mean, and if you put a wall in there, it's gonna be the same thing. A guy's gonna go behind the wall, and he's gonna thermostat up to 72, so you're wasting the money putting the wall in. We gotta do something about putting the thermostats where we want them. This has been going on for a long time. And we just checked, in fact, I'm not even on the building committee, and I checked this out here the other day, because we got somebody working there. He said, we can't stand it, it's so damn hot, it's 72 degrees in there. So everybody's sitting around here, well, let's make a change here.
How many thermostats is it?
4,
With one,
no,
how many heaters?
you gotta have a heater for every thermostat.
We have-
One heater doesn't even stop. And that's gonna be in the cold part. If it's not stopping now, how you gonna stop it in the cold part?
We have
And I think you're putting a wall in there, you're defeating the purpose here, because they're gonna turn the summertime the other wall, the other side of the wall. The same as they got on the hot side.
Need a thermostat
So
to
you
be
you gotta put
redesigned.
some kind of regulation out there, what you want for heat out there.
Yeah, but if you had a wall, it would be better, wouldn't it? Because then, when they come in, they open all the doors to back out their truck, it's cold, they get cold, they turn them all up.
They
If you
never
had a
turn
wall,
them, they don't
that-
turn them up, they put them at the 72 and they stay there.
but
7 days a
probably
week.
If there was a wall, they wouldn't turn them up, they'd be in
Well, they
one
wouldn't. Why?
place is warm,
Why are they turning them up now?
because it gets cold in the other part where they work. Well, I
The
figured,
one at the other end, nobody works at, it's 72.
I don't know.
I played with this thing for a few years, I know exactly what's going on.
Seems to me it would be better.
You put locks on them and everything, they still play with them, because you know about thermostats, how you can play with them. We had them all locked at 60. Took the pins out of them, so they couldn't move them, but they're all moved now. So somebody knows how to play with thermostats. I'm not blaming Alan for this, because he doesn't even know what was going on before. But, why are they 72?
Now, how do we change it?
I asked somebody the other day, I said, you find me a thermostat gonna serve our purpose out there, and we'll, I'll bring it up to the building committee and let them play with it. You're not gonna save heat unless you can go in those thermostats. I don't care what you do.
But if you open all the doors, let trucks, it gets cold in a hurry. And they're gonna go off the shore.
Well, they're gonna come up automatic,
Yeah.
That's right.
and then doors
You
open.
come up to the heat that you got, that calls for. It's not even 72 in the offices here, is it? Why is it gotta be 72 in the garage?
Have they said that earlier?
People go out there to warm up.
In the wintertime, my little corner gets so cold that we have to go home because it's below the New York State building code.
There you go. So you might as well put your desk out in the garage.
I don't think they're set at 72.
It's set at 72. You ask the guys working on the heaters right now.
We're gonna
He
check
checked
those.
them all out here the other day when he was here.
We can check those very easily.
Yes.
Or not. What do you think they're set at now?
Well, I tell
It's
you what, the
foolish to
other
spend money
morning
on
wasn't
a
72
wall if you're not gonna go by what's gonna be there, right? Somebody's gotta have the nerve to say that's the superside's gonna stay and put it there.
Can the building committee take a look at this?
Yep. Report back to us next meeting.
What?
Building committee's gonna look at it and report back to us the next meeting, what they think we can do. Keep the heat down and save money. Well, it costs us a lot of money.
It's kinda ridiculous having a garage of 72 here for 24 hours a day.
Okay, you guys do that?
Yes.
Okay, Grants committee, John, Paul, and Larry.
Nothing on the grants committee, I have nothing. I have on the water districts, water and sewer. You want to report on that?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I
No,
got,
that's coming up, but you do it now.
I got a letter here from Pat Ayers.
Okay.
She wants to recommend town board to appoint James Giroux to Homer Miller's expired 5-year term as Board of Assessment. She's asking us if we want,
Are you making that
I'll make it into a motion.
motion? Do I have a second on it?
I don't know, James Giroux?
Yeah.
Donald's son. Donald Drew's son.
Because of Ross's point.
Lives on State Street, Ross's Point.
Okay.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I don't know the guy, so I can't say anything.
I don't know.
I think he bought Victor West's house.
Yeah, Hector West.
Roll call, John,
Yes.
Clifford,
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Jules?
Yep.
I vote yes. Anything else, John?
Yeah, I got another one from, planning board. I asked Randy Lamberton if he wanted to be on the planning board, so he said yes. So we gotta I'll make a motion that we appoint him.
Okay. Have a second on that?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
That's for an alternate though, right?
Yeah, alternate,
Anything else, John?
that's it.
You stopping now?
Yeah.
While he's on that subject, it seems that Julian Valley, it seems that on the meetings that they have, which I attended in the last few of them, is that they're always short of people, which makes it kind of rough to vote. So these people that get on there should be more or less notified that they're gonna have to go to these meetings. Because if somebody's looking for a building part change and they're not there to vote on it, that means you gotta wait another month. It's bad enough to wait 2 months as it is. Start with.
Actually,
I mean, I don't know how you can change some of this, but I mean, if they come to the meeting just when they wanna come, that's not a good procedure.
actually, probably be a good idea to have more than one alternate.
Whatever way you wanna work this out here, and, I mean, you're up to date with it, Mickey is too,
I think what we do now is we call the members during the day, that day of the meeting, because you send them postcards a week of the meeting, they forget about it. People work, things come up, and I mean, the time that happened, some of them forgot about it that day, and we were short. And there is nothing worse than sitting in that chair, and you got people out here wanting an answer. and you
exactly what
can't
I'm
have
driving
a
at, 'cause I was sitting out there, and it's embarrassing to the people that are here, that they can't give those people an answer, yes or no, on what they're gonna do. It's bad enough to wait the length of time that we have to wait for this.
You think there should be more alternates on it?
Well, I don't know, I mean, I leave it up to the board to decide how they wanna work this thing, but it's very embarrassing when they don't have enough members.
Well, right now with Randy, we'll have 2 alternates on the planning board, and we have 1 on the zoning.
So we should have another one on the zoning?
You could.
We never set a limit, we could have more than 2, right?
Yeah.
So,
If you think that's the way to go, I mean, I don't have an objection to that part, but you should definitely have enough members here when you wanna do something.
well,
I mean, Tom must have talked 5 minutes explaining why they couldn't vote on this, the attorney to the public, why they weren't able to pass a vote on it that night.
you've used the alternates, haven't you?
So we've used them several times.
So it's working out.
So that's working out better than we had before then.
Actually, it works out real good because these people, they have an interest in it and they follow it month to month, which is nice, because if you don't know what the topic is that night, it's hard to,
To come in and just make a decision.
yeah, I mean, if you don't know what the area is, what the problem is, or, you know, what you're voting on, it's hard to vote, especially on that stuff.
This job is really an important job here, it's not really looked into it that way.
Well, what they do now, it stays in the records forever, and 5 years from now, with the decision you make tonight on zoning or planning, it could be reflected in something that's gonna happen 4 or 5 years down the road in another decision, so if you screw it up the first time, and we've had a few of these in the past over the years where things probably weren't done the way they should have been done in the beginning, and, you know, you learn and you live and you move on, but it's very, you have to take it seriously.
Well, at one time, Pam DeMoore's husband said he wanted to be an alternate. Maybe somebody could contact him.
Why don't you, send a letter to both of the chairman, president of the zoning board, and tell them that we're looking for more, that we think they should. Okay?
Yep.
If her husband wants, why don't you ask him for her?
You would probably encourage them to one steady, and if somebody goes out, now you just have one left, well, if these alternates already been into this thing, you know it's all about,
Yeah.
for the future.
If we have 3 or 4, we'd be a lot better off than what we used to be.
Yeah, we have a couple on each board, it's good, and like Jules said, as the permanent members move on, the alternates, if they want the positions, they have, you know, some of the knowledge, and
Get some
the
knowledge
attorney's very good
before
at
you walk in
explaining
there.
the process, so you're not coming in cold.
There's
it's a complicated thing to start with, so.
Okay, Highway Committee, Jules and John Ball.
Both opted out. Well, Alan started that job on the golf course road there, and I guess we'll wait for better weather there.
It
Have to
freezes
cut
a
some
little
trees
bit.
up some more anyway.
Yep.
I mean, that part of it now, but get the smaller brush out of there, and then we can,
You gonna get a hold of somebody? We
Yeah,
gotta explain
that's
to
it.
the golf course.
you know what?
We gotta explain to the golf course committee what's going on.
Well, you want me to go there?
Well, they wanted to form a little meeting there sometime.
Whatever you wanna do?
If
Yeah.
you, whoever wants to go, you two, if you wanna meet with Alan and Dustin,
Yeah.
call.
Just tell them and
Okay.
clarify the points they wanna know. You know, they don't know what's going on.
Well, it's probably my fault, I guess, here, when we got going in this thing, I thought they knew about it, they don't, so. I'll make an arrangement with them to meet.
Are you gonna call him and take care of it?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else on highway?
No.
Water and Sewer Committee, John and Larry.
Well, we see that names in the paper again. Didn't know they had a problem, I thought it was all settled.
Well, we heard that it was gonna happen, so Mike and I went over to the pump station to see what the pressure is. Pressure's right up where it's supposed to be. I don't know what else we can do for the lady.
Did they call you to tell you they had a problem?
No, nobody in this building received a phone call. I've checked. As far as I know, you two councilmen
Didn't get no phone call.
didn't receive a phone call.
You think that they should be notified who to call?
Well, there's only two that complained really now. Her and, what's his name there, next, across the road.
Launcher?
The rest of them seem all satisfied. I don't understand.
That article looks as though it's a year old, part of it.
Well, that was the
Right.
problem that we started.
Oh, am I right, reading it?
Yeah.
And because I was up there with them that day, they were up there.
That was in October.
I was with you, when we were up there.
Yeah. We thought, you know, immediately afterwards, that problem was at least somewhat solved. The pressure was better, they told us.
Yeah, I see Mills every morning, and I ask, not every day, but I ask him every once in a while, he has no complaints. No air in his water, his pressure staying the same.
It was very good the day we were up there.
The only thing, they're not happy with the price, but that's not our fault.
John Paul and I did survey the rest of that Ridge Road from the north, I guess where the north right crosses, going south, about 15, 18 homes. And we found absolutely no desire for anybody to expand that water district.
Some of those lots were already in the water district, am I right?
You talking about the 3 lots?
Yes.
One of them, the full lot is within the district. The middle lot, part of the lot is in the district. So I guess the interpretation is that that lot would qualify as being in the district. But the third lot is definitely not in the district. So if we're not gonna form a district, then you're telling me that that third lot, I'm gonna send him a letter saying that that's an undersized lot. He has to do something with it.
How much work is it, if, you know, if you wanna put that one lot in the district, it's just like setting up a whole district. That's the problem,
Exactly.
right?
Yes.
You can't say we're gonna expand a district 100 feet or 200 feet.
I don't think
If you're
so.
gonna do that, I mean, you might talk with the attorney on that, but if you're gonna do that, then it'd be a simple thing to do, but it's not that simple, unfortunately.
It's gonna be expensive to put one lot, to form a district for one lot. I mean, he went ahead and formed these lots without talking to anybody here. I mean, you know, we're being made out to be the bad guy in this deal, but we didn't create the problem.
He sort of created some of his own problems.
Yeah.
Because we didn't get one person, and we, the one we checked that wanted water, not one.
To expand the district, there is no.
Right.
no-
And to have it as a one outside user, according to the engineers, that's something that they don't really want to see, because if you apply for grants, it hurts you in your grant ratings.
It creates more problems, we
Yeah.
got that already.
Yeah, either you have districts or you don't. I don't see it any other way. So I'll send him a letter and explain it to him, and if he wants to argue, got time.
Anything else? Water and sewer.
Nothing to,
I signed the contracts with the village last week for water and sewer. Only taking us about 5 or 6 months. I got a letter that I sent to, if you notice, it's in the last part of your booklet. I sent to the deputy mayor and the village trustees, and it's to Jack Never, and Jack is upset about the price he's paying for the sewage, where he's at. So we'll see what happens on this. That was an emergency deal when they put that in, and it never followed through. And that's why Mike and Julie are gonna be handling the water. And I think we need one person to do it. We've been letting it, either the trustees or supervisors have been doing it, and they haven't been following through on it. We need somebody that works here full-time, that's not gonna be leaving to follow through on these things. And that way we won't have as many as these outside users, we'll have more districts. And the landfill committee, Jules and John Ball.
Nothing at this time.
Town clerk's report. Nothing? Okay.
While you're on this, I got one other thing. I went to a school board meeting last night because you probably know the school's putting in a water line from Champlain. The only thing they have to report is they're gonna have the bid openings on Friday for that project. And according to Jim Bernard, they wanna be digging before Christmas to put that in. So that's the latest update. They had a rough sketch of their building they're gonna put in. They gotta put in filtration equipment and softeners and this type of stuff. But they're moving ahead. That's gonna be done quick. They're talking about having 2 machines there to dig from both ends to get the ground dug. So,
They put in 2 Ts
yes.
for us.
Is that gonna be, what we wanted? I mean, we talked about it, but is that,
Yes.
Yep. Yep.
I'm going up there and looking the thing over and over again.
Take care of it all right.
You up there,
Mike and I talked about it, because he went to the meeting. They're going down 7 feet, and they're gonna be in shale, am I right?
They said rock, because they wanted to know if they wanted the RTs to put in at the 7-foot elevation, which is in the rock, which means that to get on the other side of the prospect, on the Gamlaw Road side, you'd have to cut through the rock, or would we want the T a little bit higher up, where the dirt starts about 5 foot down? So we thought that we would put it in at the 5-foot level, rather than,
And point the T up.
They should put the T on not more than a 45-degree angle,
not more than a 45,
about 45-degree angle.
not a 90?
No,
Why?
because you don't put water lines at 90-degree angles.
I'm just asking you a
No,
question.
I'm telling
I don't know
you, the
why.
engineer will tell you that. But you put that on a 45, and if it's gonna be shale, that only means you gotta go a couple of feet, and that's it. Then you can level off another 45
Okay,
and keep going.
that would be for the
Because
pipe
if
work.
you shoot it up
getting
straight,
done.
then you gotta put an elbow at the end of
Right.
that point. So tell them to put the T at a 45, which is roughly 930,
Mhm.
or 230, whatever way they're going there.
Okay.
And
He didn't tell me
then
why
we
they
can
were
take it
going
from
down so
there.
deep. I mean,
then they probably put a stub in it anyway.
yeah.
They're gonna put shut-offs in.
It'd be pretty hard to put the shut
If
off.
they
on
put a
45
shut-off in
degree
that
angle.
line,
Huh?
they're gonna have to go with put that 45 in, put a short section in, put an elbow in, another short section, and put the shut-off.
Yeah, but they're gonna probably be too close to the road.
How far off the road are they?
They're in the ditch as they are now, 25 foot from the center of the road. So
They're
by
putting
the
it down
time,
the
that's
ditch
12-inch pipe, I mean, by the time you make a bend, it chews up quite a bit of room.
That doesn't take that much room to put those bends in, if you're only going up 2 feet, it's 7 to 5. By the time you elbow that up, you're gonna be almost, that's 12-inch pipe. Right,
Yeah, 12-inch.
and then you're gonna reduce it to 8 for us.
It's gonna go through 12 to the
Well,
inside.
he's not gonna worry about that part, that'll be our
Right,
problem.
whatever we do, you
It'll be
know,
afterwards.
if and when.
You're gonna have to notify me, we should actually buy a 12 to 18 then.
That's what I'm trying to find out here.
Why do we wanna go 8-inch for? You need 10-inch if you're gonna have fire hydrants on this line.
8,
8-inch? I thought the engineers told us that 8-inch won't support the flow on the fire hydrants. You can't get your flow rate through it.
I think they did.
what?
I think they did.
It's only 8 running up, the Ridge Road. Because Carl
It's
Francis,
not
my,
really, not 8.
no, up to the fur place.
Oh,
That's what we put in there.
is there fire hydrants on that?
And the rest of the line is much smaller, isn't it?
Yep, 6.
Then it goes to 6.
It was gonna be 4, we changed it to 6.
They told us that was too big to maintain
You're right,
flow of
but
water.
they wanted it bigger in case something would happen to be ready. You would've been better off to stay at 4,
No,
in that respect.
we're gonna be talking with the engineers, we'll talk to them. Ask them what their opinion is, okay?
But I-
Whatever they say,
you
buy
got-
that key.
Yeah, okay.
If you're thinking of going to Gambling Road, you're not gonna go up there with any big area apartment 8, I wouldn't think.
Well, there's a lot, well, like he said, there's a lot of open land there going up Gimland Road. All that
Let
big
them figure it
field on
out,
the
that's what they're
right.
paying them for.
Huh?
They'll figure it out, then,
Yeah,
they're paying
that's
for
what
it,
he
they're not gonna go up there with
said.
12 and tell you that.
Well, whatever they recommend, but my thing on it is, if we're gonna do water lines, I think we should do them big enough to be sized to use fire hydrants eventually.
Oh,
I mean,
definitely.
right now, I know there's a pressure issue with the water we're gonna be getting, but hopefully someday that's gonna be solved, and when it's solved, then we'll have the pressure that we need. But if we put in a pipe that's too small to start with,
We're wasting our money.
yeah.
Fire hydrants are only 6. I
Left
know,
side-
excuse me a minute.
There's 6, but
But you better feed them with 8,
that's the smallest pipe you should be putting in is 8,
that's right.
For a fire hydrant?
Yep,
you know? You don't give
The
a
fire-
shit about
the
the
hydrant.
pressure, what you care about is the
the valves.
GPMs.
Right. The flow rate.
Take it off at 8. Yeah, I'd like to do it right, if we do it.
Well, when we get with the engineers, we'll see what they have to say, and, you know, what,
Right.
gotta believe somebody here.
Yep.
By the time you get up there, the pressure will be so big, it'll be unbelievable.
Anything else?
That was it, I just wanted to let you know what was going on with that.
Okay. Nothing in town clerk. Anything else? I'll go back to the public, anything from the public? Okay, post audit bills. And approve monthly bills, need a motion on this?
I'd make a motion to approve the monthly bills. I'd like to pull out voucher number 1609 for further consideration. I'll accept that one.
I'll second it.
I guess we're gonna, 1609.
This is, second from the top.
Okay. Can I have a second on this?
John.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, need a motion to adjourn,
Make a motion to adjourn?
and a second?